Hello, Tyler Bryden here. Hope everything's going well. I thought we'd do a fun one today. I'm using a platform Speak that I've been working on since 2019. Got this economic outlook with Christopher J. Waller. So I took a little look on Google Trends. I like to do this now and then. I say, hey, what speech or something is ranking right now? Did a little one. You can see it really popping out as a breakout in Canada, but then that sort of compounds if I go to United States in the last day. And it was a big day in the sort of overall landscape here right now. If I take a quick look at FinViz, that is a mountain of red. Looks like a couple companies have came back, but there were some numbers that came out today. How basically jobs for the U.S. under what they thought, under projections, some fear about the sort of United States economy right now and the job market now, some conflicting evidence there. I'm in Canada. Why do I care? I care for lots of reasons. I'm invested in this market, all that great stuff. But this speech was really widely suggested and actually seemed to have some impact on the market. Now, I haven't really read this or watched this yet, but I'm a Bloomberg boy, so I was watching it on Bloomberg. And what I did very simply was, hey, let's transcribe this video. So first, let's get the transcription of it. And then second, let's analyze it. Let's get some data out of it. So if I was logged into Speak, I'd be logged in the dashboard very quickly. I could just drop that file and choose what folder I want to go, the duration. If I've got some money owing, then I can pay for that very simply. If not, then I'm good to go. In this case, I've got a nice count and balance, and I've done the magic behind the scenes. I've already uploaded the video here, so I'll jump into it. First, you can see the videos here. I think you should be able to hear it.
My name is
play. Beautiful. And I can move this all around to where I want it to go. But before I do that, I want to jump in. I can see that this guy's name is Eric Sims. So I'm going to update that through here. And then now we've got the wonderful Christopher J. Waller. I'm going to get his name here right. So I've got Christopher J. Waller, and I'm going to change that. You can see that's now fine and replaced throughout. So great. I've got everything set up. I'm going to hit save now. And that's going to reprocess the transcript here. So if I want to do any analysis or anything, that basically that the speakers will be updated, and what does this mean? If I want to run any analysis or anything on this transcript, then the speakers are actually considered, which is a great function within the platform. So what I want to do, I'm going to do a quick rate cut. Let's see what's actually popping up here. There's sufficient room to cut the policy rate and still remain somewhat restrictive. Obviously, some conflicts with inflation here and concerns about conflation. But what we're also seeing as I type this in is employment, and I'm sure that was one of the topics there. So the unemployment rate, so it's increased a bit now. What's nice is the word-by-word timestamping within Speak, so I can jump to a very specific moment very quickly. And again, say I want to pop open that video.
Employment reports in combination.
That. Want to turn the video off? Good to go. Now, what's interesting on the side here is this is where I've got the AI sort of chat sitting, very valuable function in here, and I've actually got a couple different, I would call them assistant template, assistant type, and based on that assistant template type, I even have some suggested questions. So this isn't really my custom researcher. If I wanted to update one and create a new one myself, I could jump into account preferences here, and I could create like a, let's say, political speech analyzer. And I could say this speech has to do with politics. Please answer in an unbiased manner. And then this is what's nice. I could say, add some suggested prompt. What do I got here? How would you classify the policies of this person, Republican or Democratic? And again, just an idea there. And we'll do that. And then summarize this transcript with the upcoming 2024 election in mind. And I can save that now and say I want to go back to my file, Fed Waller here. I can pull this up. And now if I grab my guy here, where are you? I refresh one time. Got my political speech analyzer, and then you've got the suggested prompts that I just laid out there. And what's really interesting is I can actually just tackle the specific speaker's data and analyze that. So I'm only really interested in Christopher J. Waller as he spoke. I don't really care too much about Eric Sims. Might be a good guy, but what do I want to know? I'm going to take a look at Christopher here, and I'm going to say, based on the speech from the Fed, what do we expect the rate cut to be in September 2024? So I'm interested, will it be 0.25, 0.5, or even more? So this is now operating, interacting with the transcript, and you can see the sort of response comes back very quickly. Emphasizes a data-dependent approach. Great, that's what they've been saying for a long time. It says it's difficult to predict, so they're still not giving me the exact answer that I want, but at least a little bit of it. And then you can see here's some of the references that were prioritized to actually make that. And I want to say, hey, I want to force you to make a decision. What is the probability of a cut of a 0.25 and a 0.5 cut? Please do percentage. Probability. You have to make a choice. Just forcing the AI to do something here. And so again, it will interact with that data and give me a response. You passed 50% probabilities. That's hilarious. And I'm interested to see what the actual market's saying right now. There's the betting markets. And I actually believe this is a breakdown that we've seen. So I want to go into a little bit more of an advanced chat. This is just a sort of simple chat on the side here, but I can go in and do a new chat. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to select Christopher. I'm going to go back to my political speech analyzer. Again, nothing too crazy on there. And I just want to say, can you give me a breakdown / summary of unemployment in the United States right now? Where are we now, and where do you expect we are headed? So again, this is based off the data in the speech itself, and that's what's giving us this answer here. So some large language models on the back end. We toggle between different models based, and obviously tied a bunch of really nice things together here to make this happen. So discussion on employment, gradually increase from 3.4 to 4.2. It's a pretty big increase. Payrolls increased by 142,000 in August, up, but still lower than, and I'm making my own analysis here based on what I've seen. It was supposed to be, estimate was like 160, so a bit lower there, so slightly below, not too much. Softening, but not deteriorating. Stuff about the yield curve and the inversion of the yield curve, which I've heard lots about, not exactly sure what all that means. And then again, back to data dependency here. So a nice little summary of this. I'm going to post the transcript for you for anyone who's interested. And then obviously you can watch this video for analysis now. It's saying there's 12 speakers there. So did I miss out on some data? Oh, interesting. Okay, because there was some, that makes sense. There was some question and answer at the end. So I'm not going to get too deep into that part. I think we've done enough analysis on this. I do want to touch on one thing I think is really interesting, just to give you a little bit of context though. There's a really interesting function here, and what's basically called map to field. So I can create a field here, and I can say, what answer am I looking for? And instead of just getting it in that like unstructured response here, I can actually map it to a very specific field. As an example, political affiliation. I'm going to go for political affiliation. My researcher is fine there, and I'm going to analyze again specific. Based on this speech, is Christopher Republican, Democratic, Libertarian? I always get nervous when people watch me type, or independent. You must choose one. Only put the choice in your response. So just as an example, I wanted to walk through this for you. I thought this is a fascinating thing you can do if you're analyzing any of this kind of data like this. So I can close this out. That's running in the background. Instead of getting it in this unstructured sort of data set there, I can actually jump into a column set and I can write political affiliation. I can drop that in and you can see that there is an independent tag on that. Now, say I want to go here and see, okay, what is everyone else? This is fascinating. I'm doing this for the first time related to this piece here. So I can now, again, map the response to that field. I can hit political affiliation and haven't used that one too much. So basically I'm going to say, what, based on the speech, what is the speaker's political affiliation? You must choose Republican, Democratic, Libertarian, or independent. Will only return your choice in the response. So I've now got 25 media files selected. I'm going to map to that field, and you can see this request is now being processed. I probably refresh this a little bit. We'll start to see independent, but then we've got some Democratic, and there we go. Kamala, Joe, very fascinating already. That's great. Now what I want to do, I want to jump into Explore Insights here, and I'm going to go actually into an advanced folder, and I want to see a little breakdown. Now I'm going to duplicate this a little bit. We're actually updating a piece here, but I can get through. I'm going to go to public speeches, and I'm going to compare with, and I'm also going to go folder, and I'm going to add a condition just as an example. Includes Democratic, and then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do political affiliation contains Republican. And I can now see all-time sentiment by Republican versus Democratic. So you can see here, this is just sentiment, but the number of files, and it changes by the actual number of files and everything, but basically a little sentiment breakdown. But I want to do the same thing. I can also do keywords and see what had emerged most. And there's some very obvious ones in there, but then you can see some interesting things. Hakeem Jeffries. And again, all the keywords that had appeared, and then the number of times that had appeared. So basically the density within. So what's fascinating is America, and they split it between Americans and Americans, but some really high density for affiliation Republican there. And if I want to do one last piece now, I'm going to remove this filter. We're going to see, again, a little next field, and I actually want to break this down by the political affiliation of that data set. Now, again, still doing a little compare, so you don't actually have to compare all the time. But from that data set of all those files, 14 of them were classified as independent, 8 were classified as Democratic, and 2 were classified as Republican. A really just like interesting framework for analyzing data. Again, we went through the transcript, we had the summary there on the side, and then we also had that top level view where we could look at the data set and see the breakdown of who was who, and generally the accuracy, it looks very good just based on my knowledge of who these people are. I would say GOP rep Liz Cheney got classified as Democratic, but based on that speech, she might have been saying some things that fit that category. That's my little breakdown of the Fed Waller speech. Again, the transcript, the analysis of it, I'll post these here. If you have any questions or you're interested in this kind of work, let me know. We're very fascinated about this. I'm personally operating through Tyler Bryden, and this is the platform that we've built here, SpeakAI.co, which does some pretty incredible stuff, as I hope you can see. So hope you enjoyed this conversation or this video, and always love to connect. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.